Kaplan, Frank Isola, and the rookie Jen Latta. Good to have you back, Jen. Trying to get to the rookie level of Paul Skeens. No-hit bit yesterday, named NL starter today. And get to the rookie level of Angel Reese. Double-double streak continues in the last minutes and last seconds the last couple of games. Does that make it more impressive or less? Is a question I might ask you. Let's go around the horn.
It's a no makeup day for me, Tony. Not in Houston, but I'm in Dallas, riding dirty.
Oh, you're covering the All-Star game. Yeah, you're there for the All-Star. Well, then this story is tailor-made for you, Clinton Yates. Paul Skeens with the baseball news of the day, named NL starting pitcher for the All-Star game. Torey Lovullo called into the Dan Patrick Show mid-Patrick Skeens interview to tell him. This is historic. Only 4 other rookies have started the All-Star game before. He was #1 pick 1 year ago. And a May call-up this season. And last night, a 7-inning no-hit gem. A question for you conspiring theorizers out there. Was he lifted from the no-hit gem to prioritize All-Star availability? Here's Pirates manager Derek Shelton after the game.
How tough of a choice was it for you to bring Holdy in for the 8th?
Not at all. He was tired. It didn't have anything to do with the pitch count. Everybody makes it about pitch counts. It was about where he was at. It was about, trusting your eyes, trusting him.
Around the horn to Clinton Yates on Skeens All-Star starter, and tell me whether manager Yates would have kept him in yesterday.
I think I would have kept him in this particular situation. Reminder, this is the second time that he's left a game this season alone with a no-hitter intact. So I do think there is some consistency in what the Pirates are trying to do. But overall, I think this is a great situation for this kid. Obviously deserves to be the All-Star starter in my opinion, but this conversation we have about what we're doing with pitchers, what we're doing with arms, how we're regulating counts, I'm not sure we're ever going to see another one-man, one-outing no-hitter happen more than once in a season again, because this is just not the philosophy of baseball that a lot of different people choose to use, whether it's through arms or through other situations with relievers. So, yeah, it's a bummer, but I just feel that the value of the no-hitter from a fan standpoint is something that's just gone away in baseball through analytics or whatever you want to call it, which is just how we play the game.
Do you think in any way whether he would have a lot of gas for the All-Star weekend factored into the decision, Clinton?
Maybe, but I think that that's just people who want to look for a problem because they don't like the idea that we're not constantly looking for the next guy to throw a no-no, because combined ones are not things people...
Jen Latta, I'll turn to you. This game was against the Milwaukee Brewers. You're in Milwaukee. You can talk from that perspective. And the idea that Skeens, would you have kept him out there maybe to try for the 8th and 9th inning of no-hit ball?
Absolutely, because the combined no-hitter, as Clinton said, is the most ridiculous stat in all of sports, but I digress. You keep him out there because cool and unique things in sports are cool and unique. I've never seen a no-hitter. I bet the majority of baseball fans have never seen a no-hitter in person. So you talk to Paul Skeens afterwards, he would have liked to have stayed in. He's never thrown a no-hitter either, not when he was a kid, not when he was in high school, not when he was in college, having all that success at LSU. An opportunity for him to have a cool and unique day at the ballpark. And if it was because of the All-Star game, that's foolish, because he's probably going to pitch just one, maybe 1+ inning in that game before they throw other guys out there. This would have been the perfect opportunity to see what he could do. At 99 pitches, he was like 8 pitches away from what he threw in the last game. Maybe it was the accumulation of those 2 starts together that had the manager a little nervous, but I think it's more than likely what Clinton was alluding to, which is that 35% of pitchers in Major League Baseball this year have already undergone Tommy John surgery, and teams feel like they have to protect their investments. The Pirates don't know how long they're going to hold on to Skeens. They want to make sure they get at least a full season, full few seasons out of him and not spent recovering.
Emily Kaplan, bring you in here.
When I hear the manager say that he's tired and he trusted his eye, I'm like, you're being scapegoated for management, because that guy only threw 7 pitches in his last inning. He looked like he was cooking. We want to see special athletes do special things on this stage. And Paul Skeens is the emerging face of baseball as we head into All-Star weekend. And this, to me, is the paradox of baseball where we're at right now, because we want to see these pitchers shine when they get to this stage, but we're overcompensating for all the workload that they had in the past. If you look back to his days at LSU, his last 4 games, He pitched 120 or more pitches in 3 of them, and his workload probably went way back to youth baseball when he was just throwing velocity again and again. So it's super frustrating, and I think it's why fans like me are frustrated in the sport right now because, as Clinton said, we might not ever see this, and it's a shame. We shouldn't be robbed of these accomplishments.
All right, so put the manager cap on. Kaplan, are you putting him out there for the 8th and then 9th inning in pursuit of a no-hitter?
As long as he looked as comfortable as he did those last few innings, yes.
And Frank Isola, to you, same question.
Yeah, he only threw 13 pitches the last 2 innings. Why not throw him out there? I love the fact that he's starting in the All-Star game. He's one half of a celebrity couple. Right now, he's the biggest name in the sport next to Ohtani. So absolutely, he should start the All-Star game, especially on what he's accomplished. But this idea, the game is for the fans. Why not throw him out there? First of all, everyone is babying all these pitchers. If they're getting babied, why is everyone having surgery? Obviously, they're doing it the wrong way. And think about this. Here's a guy now with only 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball have had in the same season starts of at least 6+ innings, 11+ strikeouts, and no hits. It's him and Nolan Ryan. The only difference, Nolan Ryan completed it and had 2 no-hitters, where Skeens could have had it, but he doesn't get the chance to do it. I don't get it.
Glenn Yates, I'll get you back in here after the horn.
I don't want to overlook the fact here, though, that Paul Skeens is an amazing pitcher if you're watching him actually pitch. I don't want to overlook the fact here, though, that Paul Skeens is an amazing pitcher if you're watching him actually pitch. Forget about whether or not he gets the no-hitters. Emily mentioned LSU. I was there. I'll be there on Monday to see him play. He's fooling big league hitters with the craziest stuff. It's not just him dialing it up to 102 or whatever it may be. His actual pitch ability is something worth watching, whether he gets to a no-hitter or not. This kid
Pitching
is
at LSU last year, he threw 120 some starts. Averaging around 120, 125. That draft was 1 year and
These starting pitchers, we've seen it before. You can go pretty far, but the Dodgers, we expected a lot more out of this team, and right now they've been as big of a disappointment the last month as the New York Yankees.
Emily Kaplan, take away from this series?
I think we need to give the Phillies some flowers here. They have 36 wins at home. I know I'm just emerging from my hockey bubble right now. I didn't even know teams played 36 home games yet. Give me the math emoji on that.
For counting the number of games? I don't think you get an algorithm for that. Go ahead, Emily, please.
Fair enough. But they've been fantastic, so is their pitching, and I think the city of Philadelphia deserves it. As for the Dodgers, as Frank said, pitching, right? We came into the season saying they have so many pitchers. Now, most of them are in.
Right now, the Phils have been better than the Dodgers for a couple seasons. That's the team that hasn't won a World Series, but has still been better than everybody else. But as for the Dodgers, they have a myriad of specific problems. Number one is that their all-stars none of them are hitting collectively above one of those guys' even weights at this point in terms of what happened in that series. Moreover, they also have major issues with their pitching staff. The injuries are affecting them badly. And on top of that, the depth is a concern. When they lose guys, they're basically a team for people back or having the youth system that's going to be able to fill anybody in. That has not happened. They're relying on people that are other teams' cast-offs, and it just isn't working. This is a team with extremely high expectations that has not delivered much. And for Doc to be saying they're better than we are right now, I think they've got to have a much more realistic look on who they are overall.
You don't think they can get right over the next 2.5 months, Clinton?
When's the last time they won a World Series, Tone, in a full season?
The Dodgers, more recently than the Phillies.
But point is, that was a shortened season. No. That was a shortened season.
Okay.
Full season, they haven't done it, and that's the issue with this team.
One thing I wanted to say, you were so close, Emily Kaplan, to getting the ban word, given the flowers, is approaching ban status, unless you're going to give Brandon Flowers the flowers. With the Killers, we're showing the Euro Cup with England winning it and then playing right side. Oh, that was amazing. Let's go. We'll talk about that later, maybe. Buy or sell next. It's buy or sell. Milwaukee's in the show. Let's have a Des Caught It reference.
You know, as they say, all's well that ends well when they signal that it was on the transfer. Unlike Des, he caught it.
There we go. How the Rays Yankees ended the game, tying tweener pop caught by Jose Caballero, and then in celebration the ball came out. They reviewed it. They called it a catch. Ball game over, Rays win. Clinton, you make the call there.
I'm going to sell this. I mean, every time I see this, it looks more and more like a mistake that was granted because of a rule that does not apply to this. Celebrations and transfers are not the same thing. And the fact that it ended the game made this a much more difficult call. I wouldn't have been mad if they called this an error and just said, no, we're continuing.
All right,
with this
there we go.
It popped out. You didn't know what was going on. I don't mind. I would have not minded that
Jen
call.
Lada, make the call.
I'm buying that if I'm in the Major League Baseball commissioner's office, I'm having a conversation about how to address this going forward. But right now, the precedent is that a catch can be milliseconds long. And if that's the precedent and that's what these players have been conditioned to and programmed to believe, you catch it for shorter than it takes for me to say the word catch, and it counts.
All right, you're calling it an out. Emily Kaplan, how about you?
As someone who's been frequently told to slow down so people understand me, that's the advice I would dispense here, just stick to post. Also, am I crazy? Like, through traffic over the, shouldn't have been the center fielder's ball. Like, it shouldn't have had to be over the shoulder like that.
Okay, and Frank Isolo, you make the call here.
He didn't make a football move, but this isn't the NFL. In the NFL, it's not a catch. The more I watch it, I do think he caught the ball. But in today's installment of If Only George Steinbrenner were still around, every beat writer would get him on the phone, and he'd be saying, we're going to protest the game. He'd be met at the commissioner's office and at replay, but it looked like he did have it for a while.
George Steinbrenner ain't walking through that door, Frank. We say it every time the Yankees come up after a loss. We'll move on. Buy or sell to a conversation about Georgia football now with a spotlight off the field with 2 more driving arrests this week. It's now 9 Georgia football players and staff members with driving arrests over the last 18 months. Street racing between teammates being among the citations this week, which is tragically notable as his university has dealt with the gravest of results from that in the deaths of Devin Willock and Chandler LaCroix in January of last year. How do you consider the latest news about Georgia football, Jen Lada?
Yeah, it's a bad look for Georgia football right now. If 2 is a coincidence and 3 is a habit, what is, did you say 9, Tony, in the last 18 months? And I know that there are other publications that have tabulated even more than that. I know that Georgia has done exhaustive education. They have brought sheriffs in, they have brought police in to talk about the dangers of reckless driving and drag racing and alcohol-related incidents. But it doesn't seem to be discouraging the behavior. Part of me thinks this is NIL and the guys having money and spending money on fast cars and wanting to drive those fast cars, not saying that that's an excuse and that should allow it. But I believe that the organization has tried to discourage the behavior. If losing a teammate 18 months ago wasn't enough to get these kids to change their behavior, what can Kirby Smart possibly do? Run them? I don't think that's going to change it.
Emily Kaplan.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that this happened 18 months after they lost 2 members of their program is just stunning. Last time this happened, Jerem Morehouse, the president of the university, said, I know Kirby Smart is addressing it, and I know why he hasn't suspended guys, right? It's so easy to transfer now. But if you're a self-respecting organization and institution, someone needs to step up and do something, and I say it's the AD or the president.
Frank Isola.
Yeah, people drive fast, not only Division I athletes, but Georgia can do something about it. If the football coach is going to do something, the president or the athletic director could do something, and you could suspend a player maybe, and not just for the first couple of cupcakes that you play at the start of the season, maybe half a season, maybe the full season, if you really want to change.
The university has put in a rule about suspension of 10% of a season for things like a DUI arrest, which happened recently, although it pled out. So whether the player is suspended, that is up for debate. Clinton Yates, now to you.
This is a flat-out loss of institutional control, in my opinion. I know that sounds like a lot to say, but let's be real. When you add up the numbers, when you add up what's going on, there's really no other way to describe it other than, I'm sorry, this one specific thing keeps happening in this one program, and it's taken multiple lives. It feels like we're at the point now where the school is going to have to decide, are we going to try to be a decent steward of society, or are we just going to let the people that play football that make us money do whatever they want? They are mutually exclusive at this point, and I don't like this problem because it is something that's kind of natural to the human existence, young men driving fast cars, but overall, clearly, there is an issue here that needs to be addressed by somebody who is not Kurt.
Lada, one last word.
In this county, it is just considered a misdemeanor. Bail is set at $26, guys. You want these guys to stop doing it? Crank that bail up to a number that actually hurts them in their pocketbook. Maybe then you won't see them reckless
SEC
driving.
Media Day is next week. We saw Mike Gundy take some tough questions and not even answer them to a panel's way that they wanted to hear. Kirby Smart will be at a microphone next week. One more story here. Liberty 91, Sky 76. New York closes games out, man. They finished the game on a 21-8 run But Angel Reese extending the double-double record streak is what we talk about here. Again, it came at the very end of a game when it looked like she might not get it. Some follow-up rebounds in the last 2 minutes. The Brooklyn crowd, a raucous crowd of 17,000, showed appreciation for her at one point as well. Jen Latta, around the horn to you. These late-second double-doubles make it more or less impressive?
Keep me a double. I feel like I'm Reese. That from Flau'jae Johnson on the ESPYs last night, shouting out her former teammate. It's not as it's exciting, but it's not as impressive. I love the idea of sitting on the edge of your seat, watching the clock tick down, and wondering if she's going to do it, if she's going to continue the streak. But it would be more impressive if she did it in dominant fashion.
Not as
bigger
impressive.
Numbers earlier in the game.
Emily Kaplan, how about you?
I have a lot of questions about why Cardoso, who was a better rebounder that night, was sitting the entire fourth period. That said, the fact that she's doing something that no WNBA player or NBA player has done since Shaquille O'Neal, this many double-doubles in this few games, Tony, let's give her diamonds. I think we need to recognize that.
Frank Isola, more impressive or less impressive that it's coming down to the last seconds?
Yeah. Well, the standard for centers and forwards used to be 20-10. Then some smart agent came up with double-double, double-double. So 10 and 10, believe it or not, is not as impressive as 20 and 9.
Okay, here we go.
Getting rebounds is big. That's important. But let's be fair. The one that she got the last game against the Atlanta Dream, there was something a little fishy with that one. Last night, I have no problem with.
Wait, are you saying stat padding? Are you saying stat padding is in play here, Frank? It sounds like.
Well, you usually dribble out the clock when you're up 7 with 7 seconds to go. You don't dump it into the post.
Clinton Yates. Man, I saw him. Wow.
The idea that statistics compiled in a game that you are playing with a clock suddenly just shouldn't count because they happen towards the end of the game is insane to me. We just got through talking about the end of a play. Again, I don't like that. Overall, though, what I do enjoy, though, is the fact that everybody is finding a way to celebrate Angel Reese. There were a couple of kids that were at that game with signs that said, Liberty fans, Angel stands. Like, the fact that everybody can look at this and say, even if you think it's cheap or whatever, we can still celebrate somebody for doing something that's never been done. That's what I'm enjoying most about the W in general right now, is that we're seeing things we haven't seen before.
And Yates, Jen Latta, thanks for the time. Got to run. Kaplan, Isola, that's our showdown next. A dream weekend of matches in soccer and in tennis. Let's have it in showdown. Spain, England is your Euro Cup final, as you know, and Colombia, Argentina, your Copa final. Start with the soccer, Frank Isola. Who you got?
I believe that Colombia, which has a 28-match unbeaten streak, will pull off the upset and win. And then the other Spanish-speaking country, I think Spain, just been too good all tournament long. They beat the host country. They beat France. They'll beat England to lift the cup.
Emily Kaplan.
I think England's got that juice this year. They've come back from so many deficits to win. They finally have the depth. Meanwhile, for Colombia, I also like Colombia. James Rodriguez, people wrote him off at age 33. Can you imagine writing off a 33-year-old? That's insane. Having the tournament of his life.
Young 30.
He's so old. Oh, okay. England has the juice this year, says Emily Kaplan. That has never been said before, right? Home. Never been said. We'll split the point, but I want to see what happens this weekend. You'll get your points later, or your mutes. Wimbledon final. Okay, so here we go. This is a rematch, and this is Alcaraz Djokovic. This is just enormous as well. What a great weekend of sports, Emily. You wanted this, you got it. Who you got?
Djokovic has the juice this year. A lot of people didn't even think he'd be playing in this tournament after his knee surgery, and he's clapping back at being a villain. I don't think he's leaning into being a villain. He's finally standing up for himself. I think he gets revenge on last year's final against Alcaraz.
Frank?
I'd love to see Djokovic do it. If he does, that's 25 majors, the most all time. He had knee surgery, and he's had a terrific tournament. He's yet to play 5 sets, but come on. This is the younger Rafael Nadal. This guy is relentless. He doesn't stop.
But come on, you got Alcaraz, it sounds like. All right, Emily, you were giving away flowers, you're giving away diamonds, you're giving away juice. I'm giving away a FaceTime to ice.
There we go. Well, they call it the summer of soccer. It's going to end on Sunday. And one thing about England, as Emily mentioned, a lot of people rooting for them. I am too. I have a lot of British friends, and there's one thing about these guys. They're lovely guys, they're smart, but they are so cynical and negative. They make me look like I'm happy-go-lucky, for crying out loud. It's been a long time since England's won anything. They have a great professional league. So England on Sunday, Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, Come on, do something. Maybe concede the early goal, come back and win. I'm rooting for the 3
So
Lions.
you're rooting for them to win, but you're picking against them. Oh, Isola, how does he do it? 71 half-hour break. We'll see you Monday.